Alright, today we're going to do the titration of hydrogen peroxide. So the goal here is to take that hydrogen peroxide you buy in the store, and we're going to determine, it says down at the bottom that it should be 3%. We're going to see if that percentage is correct. Okay, we're going to maybe add some more precision or prove or disprove it. So to do this, we're going to use KMnO4, which is undetermined at the moment. We do not know the concentration of it. But we'll know the volume of it when we do our titration in our burette, because that's what's going to go in here. And we're going to use a couple other things. We're going to use, these are both sulfuric acid. I'll put these off to the side. And we're going to also use oxalic acid. So the first, like I told you, I said that this potassium permanganate, it's purple. You can't see it right now. But when I pour it, you'll see that. Let's go ahead and goggle up. When we put some water in this right here, potassium permanganate is going to act as its own indicator. So it's purple in solution, or in the pipette, as you can tell, and those manganate ions are going to make this kind of pink color. Let's swirl it around. And so this is the type of pink color, that's what your end point is going to look like. Now you can tell if you pass the end point, I'm going to put one extra drop in here. And you can tell that it gets quite purple very quickly. It's even an even brighter pink, so that's two, you've passed it at this point. Let's see, let's add, just for fun, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. If you add even more, let's swirl it around, and it's way too purple now. Okay? So that's what potassium permanganate is. Fun story, I heard this story from another teacher, but I had a student said it's like a purple powder, and she thought it was glitter, and she thought it was so pretty, so she decorated her phone with it. Unfortunately, if you get this on your skin, it is going to stain your skin brown, and it's a disgusting, nasty brown. So, unfortunately, she stained her phone nasty brown instead. Like I said, you have that KMnO4. You're going to want to standardize this. We want to find out the concentration of KMnO4 that's in this bottle. That's potassium permanganate. To do that, we're going to have to find a known mass of a solid. Kind of like we did the standardization of the sodium hydroxide in that acids and bases lab. We're going to do the same thing for oxalic acid. So I'm going to bring it on over here. Your oxalic acid I have measured is going to be 0.1238 grams. Make sure you write that down. And that oxalic acid is H2C2O4. Now that is actually a dihydrate. So put a dot to H2O. That means that the molar mass of it is a little different. Read it straight off the bottle here. The molar mass is 126.07. Okay, 126.07 is the molar mass for oxalic acid dihydrate. So that's how you'll find the moles. Now that that's done, let's goggle up, because the next step is to we need to add 10 milliliters of sulfuric acid, H2SO4, and this is 1 molar sulfuric acid, not that concentrated, but we need acidic conditions. Now I'm going to have to heat the solution to a temperature of about 80 degrees. So it's not going to take long, but what we don't want to do is we don't want to boil the acid. Okay, that would be bad. So we're going to make sure that we stir and swirl this enough so that no oxalic acid is on the side. And I'll see you back when it reaches 80 degrees Celsius. I didn't overfill it. Good. I did get some on my hands. That's about it. So washing with soap and water still looks like that. And so there we go. Our oxalic acid is ready, and it has been activated. That's why we have to heat it up. It needs to activate. Doesn't fully loosen up until that happens. Not fully able to react. Don't worry about why. So we have not actually done any measurements so far, except for right here. Notice that little bulb that we've got. That's going to cause a problem. You can tell this little bulb right here. So that's that initial squirt. We made sure to get rid of that. So now we're going to take an initial reading, and that's going to read 2.70. Okay? So, you see how I just added some KMNO4 and it all dissolved, or all the color went away. Oh, dang, just passed it right there. Remember that color that I told you to avoid? That's it. So I ended up using everything, and I ended up with that really dark purple. And so here we are. Our final reading is going to be 8.15. 8.15. Now, in your lab, that's line 3 and line 4. That's actually, that was line 3. 2.70 was line 4. Alright, and then so you should be able to calculate the volume of KMNO4 used just by subtracting the two. And then the volume of KMNO4 used in liters, well, you'll have to divide by 1,000. And then you'll have to calculate the moles of KMNO4. Do really quick stoichiometry. It's just one thing, and then calculate the molarity, and then calculate the average molarity is something that we'll have to get from the class. So that would be line 9 on your lab report. That's right here. You'll have to, the average molarity, online students, you'll just have to forego that step. Okay. So now that we've decided that, and we've been able to standardize it, we are now able to, we now know the molarity of KMNO4 that's in here. So now we can move on to a little easier one. And now you can tell that it wasn't instantaneous. Now it's turned all brown. That's because all the oxalic acid has been used up and then turned into something else, and that's what that looks like. All right, now that's done, we have now calculated, you should hopefully be able to do it one more time. We'll see if we can add in a little bit more data. I'll try one more time, and we'll see if we can get an average. But then we'll move on to the concentration of hydrogen peroxide in a commercially prepared solution. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take 5 milliliters of this stuff, and then we're going to use a volumetric flask here, and then place it into here, and then we're going to dilute it. We have to dilute this because if we tried to titrate this directly, it would turn in like 3 drops. It wouldn't be that there would be a lot of random air there. So we're going to have to dilute first. So you'll need to know this volume exactly, and just like we teach you, that's going to be yeah, it's going to be right on 5.0. So 5.0, just 5.0, not 5.00. 5.0 milliliters of hydrogen peroxide, and so we will put it into here, and then we will have to dilute it up to 50 milliliters. Okay, so that's 50 milliliters, and the uncertainty is a plus or minus 0.05. Just in case you need to know that. We don't have to calculate uncertainty here. The calculations are enough to do. Now we need to be able to invert this. So I need the tiniest stopper for that. Be right back. We're going to have to add 15 milliliters. And now we're going to titrate it. Alright, we're probably just a drop or two away. That was 2 drops. That was 2 drops. And I should have just done 1 drop. Wow, I called it, didn't I? So, very nice. Okay. So I probably still went just slightly over, but that's what we should see. Right there. That's our endpoint. And that final volume is going to be 14.96. Alright, from there you'll be able to calculate the volume of KMNO4 used in milliliters. You'll be able to calculate the volume of KMNO4 used in liters. Then you'll be able to calculate the moles of KMNO4 used. Okay, because now you know the concentration from the part before, and you know the volume. So now you'll be able to change it into moles. You'll be able to calculate the moles of H2O2 titrated. And now the moles of H2O2 in the undiluted sample, that's line 16. That's the same as line 15, right? That's how many moles was in that. The number of moles from the diluted sample is the same as the number of moles in the undiluted sample, right? The volume is the only thing that changed in that one. So then you were able to calculate the molarity of the H2O2. That's going to be the moles over liters. The average molarity, and that is going to be something, line 18 you'll probably have to forgo. Line 19 is the mass of 10 milliliters of H2O2. So it's going to be 9.7494 grams. Okay, and that makes sense. It's mostly water, so it should have the same as that. And you should be able to the density of H2O2. You now know the volume of it. It was 10 milliliters, and you know the mass, so you should be able to calculate the density, right? Now the average weight percent is something that we'll have to forego. But that should be it. It's going to be a good one. Have a great day.